Hi, hello. Welcome to Do You Make Music? Brought to you by the Daily Collegian. I'm your host, Ayden Mateo Herold, and I'm here today with Mellow Honey. Say hi, guys.
What's going
What's up?
on? Howdy.
So, what are your names and what do you play in the band?
My name is Rob. I play bass in Mellow Honey.
My name is Martin. I play guitar and I sing.
Nice. So, I guess we can before we go into all of the questions about history and influences and this and that and all that. Just what is Mellow Honey? You know, if I don't know what your band is at all, how would you describe it?
I don't know how to describe. I would say psychedelic rock band. You know what I mean? Like go back to the most basic form in terms of genre. But other than that, I guess it's we do some acoustic music too. We do indie music. You know.
Yeah, I would say we're a full cohesive psychedelic experience, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Nice. So how did you guys meet up?
Well, we're actually brothers, so we've been playing like violin and cello since we were like little kids. Did a lot of orchestra growing up. It was kind of a family thing. Music was always in the family. And then probably around like early high school, middle school time, we started getting into like guitars, electric guitars, basses, and the whole like typical rock band setup, like as opposed to like the orchestra kind of stuff that we were doing before. So since then, we started like listening to the same music and just getting into like the same like wavelengths and just started writing music together, and we went from there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we had like a joke band, a couple of joke bands starting out. Like in middle school, we had Mustache Cash Sash.
Oh yeah.
And that was like a regular show reference, I guess.
Yeah.
You got
Yes,
that.
yes.
Yeah, they had that sick band. We had Mustache Cast. I never actually used the band name in the show, but it was definitely a reference to that.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of joke bands.
We had Teenage Rebellion after
Yeah.
that, where we actually did write a decent bit of music. We had like maybe 4 or 5 songs. It was like Robbie and I singing, and I would play acoustic guitar. And then in high school, I think we had like a music seminar for like every other Wednesday. We would do a seminar. We chose the music one, and I guess we just that was called like School of Rock. But they didn't really teach anything. We just kind of got to practice in like a room together, and that's kind of when we took advantage of our school hours to just like, I guess, write and like mess around.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys talk about being like a musical family. Did your folks do music?
Yeah, actually, our parents, both from Poland. Our mom, she went to school for oboe. She was an oboe performer, and our dad was a clarinet player. So they moved to the States in like '93, I think, and they played in an orchestra down here together.
Nice.
Yeah, our sister played piano. We'd always have like Christmas was like a musical event kind of thing. It's always like the family kind of playing whatever it is, piano, violin, cello, guitars, and whatnot. So yeah.
You guys like performing the Christmas classics and stuff like
All that stuff.
yeah.
Well, I mean, not really Christmas. It's all like Polish
Ah.
Yeah,
carols
like
and stuff
the-
like that. So, yeah, not so famous here, but in Poland, like stuff that everyone knows.
Yeah.
Those are the real hits.
Yeah, real
Huge hits.
stuff.
Nice. Okay, so then, really quickly, why don't you tell me a bit about those high school bands? What did you guys kind of take away from that? That like, I guess if we're drawing that line of progression from Mustache Castache to Mellow Honey, right?
Yeah.
Was there anything in particular you guys picked up or learned, or like was it just the general stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not that deep. It's not that serious. You know what I mean? I think that's why we have to start off with like joke bands. It's just to kind of like get out of the mindset of like orchestra, 50 people,
Yeah.
conductor, suits and ties, and like kind of like revert back to just like what if we just like have fun with it? You know what I mean? So I think that was my biggest takeaway from all the joke bands. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we had like Teenage Rebellion. We had like, they were like the four chord kind of songs, and they were kind of a joke, but they would get stuck in my head and stuff. I'm like, oh, this is so much fun. And then we had our very first gig at the end of high school. It was like me on the electric violin, Robbie on the guitar, and our friend Liam was playing drums, and we just kind of had like a field day gig, and that was like our first, I guess, like performance as a non-orchestra kind of group. But then, yeah, but we performed all the time. We had like we played in the orchestra, and then so we would play at mass, at church.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys were also in a church band.
A lot of church.
Kinda, yeah. It was like more of it was like violin, cello stuff, but sometimes I would do like classical guitar and or like a little bit of piano. And then I'd say the big turning point, like the time we actually decided to start like a real kind of band was when we started Hotel Showers, which was that was in college though. I think we came back for it was during COVID. We came back we came back home when we were stuck there for a while, and we met up with our good friends who both started playing guitar, and we tried playing some stuff with them. Robbie was on the bass, I was on the drums, and we released an EP together. That taught us a lot about recording, and then we also had another little like single that came out. I want to say like a year ago almost.
Yeah.
So then, how did those kind of early performances as either in the orchestra or as the church band, did that sort of get you ready for performing as a band? Because I know it's probably one thing to be like just one part of a 50-person orchestra, but then it's another thing to be in a band and it's just you and a few other guys. And I imagine as a singer, there's a lot of eyes, particularly on you, right?
Yeah, definitely. It definitely prepared us a bit, but I guess the issue is, going from like what you said, from like 50 people or like 10 people in like an arrangement to three, just like the three of us as a trio. You kind of always have to show yourself, and you're always exposed. There's like no one to hide behind when you're playing. So it definitely prepared us to like play in a group and listen to other people. But there was a lot that we had to learn as far as like, playing in a band like that, and always being exposed, and then also the sheer loudness of like shows. It's something we didn't really prepare for. Mm-hmm. So like hearing a mix, the mix is never very favorable, and you kind of have to learn to adjust to that.
But people don't. You can make a lot of mistakes in an orchestra performance. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's you can just kind of hang out. There's nobody staring at you. Nobody can like directly hear you. I'd be like hiding behind a lot of things, But it's like the second, I think it was like the first like field day performance we did, where it's just like three of you, and you like stand on the stage, and everybody's looking at you. All of a sudden, it's just like all those years of performing went right out the window. Like nothing matters, and you feel like a beginner again, but it's kind of good. I'd say it's like, you definitely have to adjust to like not being able to hear yourself, and like every mistake that you do make, everybody will hear kind of thing. So
it took a while to get rid of the shaky leg syndrome. Once again,
you just kind
go
of
up on stage,
there shaking,
freaking the hell out.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of other questions about performing as your band, but why don't we maybe go a little chronologically? So, how did Mellow Honey come about?
I feel like Mellow Honey was always like what we really wanted to do. We're always really into bands like the OCs and like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. So we wanted to do that, but it was just a matter of like we thought we didn't have the facilities, like enough people or something like that. But then once we just started picking up like electric bass and electric guitar at the same time, we could kind of like see the vision a lot better. And then we met Dylan here in the State College, and then he's an amazing drummer, obviously. So then from there, we kind of like finally had a chance, like, okay, let's like do it. We got kind of like platformed with like house shows. People gave us the space, the venue, the audience to do it in front of, and like from there, it was just like, let's run with it kind of thing,
Really quick, was Dylan in another band when you guys met him? Because I know at least here in State College, the drummers, the drummer economy, it's like a whole
Dylan was the greatest. It was the luckiest catch. I was during COVID, I took a gap year, and I was actually working at the bicycle shop on like West College, and Dylan was like my first big sale. So he just came in and bought a bike and a bunch of other cycling equipment. And when he gave me his email address for like for the order, it said Dylan Percussion Geek. I'm like, oh, so he's a drummer. I'm like, hey, listen, man, my brother's gonna come up, and he's gonna start school, pretty soon. And once he does that, it would be cool if we played together. But yeah, so we went out on a couple bike rides, and we decided to live together. And yeah, that kind of sealed the deal. Once we signed a lease together, there was no way he was going to get out of playing for us.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, even before 2020, like we had a lot of music written. We kind of went by we went by the Kimuras for like a very brief period of time. And Robbie and I thought had this unrealistic idea of recording all the parts to all of our songs and putting them on Spotify and slowly growing an audience out of nowhere. And we realized that was infeasible.
Yeah.
So once we delegated like all the drum work to Dylan, things just kind of took off. And you know, we had a full band so we could get our first show, and that was all we needed to get our foot in the door. And it kind of snowballed from there.
Nice. And then for the sake of my own timeline, then really quickly. So when did you get to Penn State, and when did you come to Penn State?
I came to Penn State in 2021 after taking a gap year and living abroad for a bit, and then you would have.
Yeah, I came in 2018, but then I also it was right when COVID happened.
Yeah.
We both took gap years, so I'll be graduating this May.
How far apart are you guys as brothers?
Just 2 years.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
2.5.
2.5, something like that.
Oh,
yeah.
Same. That's same with my little brother.
Yeah.
We're 2002, 2004.
Or 2002, 2000.
Yeah. Nice. Actually, really quickly, then I'll ask you guys about that super fast. How does like being brothers kind of affect y'all and how you make music? Because I know with me and my little brother, we're always like it feels like when we're together, we're like on a separate wavelength from everybody else, just because we spend so much time together, and like we can almost read each other's minds. And I have to imagine for music, that's got to be like a crazy like special connection, right?
Yeah, that's what makes it. We have our Neuralinks like set up to the same frequency.
Yeah.
So Robbie and I will just like play the same thing at the same time sometimes, and it's just like makes songwriting pretty easy. And we also listen to most of like the same music, so we pretty much like
it's like a cheat code. It's like honestly, like I talk to other like people who are in other bands, and they're like they can't find a time to like practice or do anything, but it's like if you're like brothers, you kind of like come up with an idea together, and we'll go like dissect the idea, like build on like ideas on our own time, then come back and like put them back together, and then it like especially makes it easy like being in a 3-piece, and like we know we're gonna have to like commit to the same things at the same time. During break is when we get like a lot of songwriting done because we're going home together. It's like it's kind of like definitely. Help. And plus getting like the orchestra experience and all that stuff from like childhood, we're kind of like on like the same page.
And then workshopping those ideas must be really easy since y'all live together, right?
Yeah.
It's just like hey, just knock on each other's door, right?
Yeah.
What do you think of these lyrics?
Never have to be scared to be like honest about whether an idea is good or bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about hurt feelings.
Yeah, exactly. And I always trust Robbie to like come up with good ideas. Like I don't think we've ever, and usually we'll agree if we don't want something to be like in a song or on an album or something. Yeah.
So whose idea was it to name the band Mellow Honey?
I think I came up with it in the library one time. I was going through random word generators, but eventually I liked the sound of Mellow Honey. And then it was weird because we had a gig coming up. It's like one of those typical like last minute stories where like we had a gig coming up, our very first gig at Three Dots. And we were going to go like all acoustic, all indie kind of music. So we're like, oh, Mellow Honey perfectly describes what that sounds like. And then that just completely changed.
We got like one house show and then all
we're like wow.
No.
But no, it's kind of an interesting like contrast now compared to the music you guys make,
Oh yeah, no. I think we even had like some like dude one time come up to us after like a show, and he was like, oh, I saw the name Mellow Honey. I thought it'd be something like really relaxing, but you guys just came out like very loud and like. So now we kind of keep it up as like a little thing,
We like the juxtaposition.
Let's go with juxtaposition.
It all fell into place kind of. But then speaking of sounds, what are some of your influences then? I mean, like, do you guys have specific like instrumental influences, like someone who like inspires you for your bass parts, or someone who inspires you singing, or is it kind of like, do you take from just like genres in general? I feel like I'm making my question a little too vague, but influences.
No, I like the way you phrase that because there is a separation between like we like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, we like the OCs, we like all the psychedelic rock influences for the music we write, but like specifically for guitar, I know I take like a lot of my experience and a lot of my influences are like blues guitarists like Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and even like John Dwyer from the OCs. So like there is definitely different, and like I've been really liking the funky stuff, and that's like yeah, some of that leaks into songwriting, but like yeah, I'd say like for guitar I have different influences.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's like I think we're most influenced like genre-wise by like the OCs, King Gizzard, and Lizard Wizard, like pretty like modern psychedelic rock bands. But then like King Gizzard has like 7 members. We're like a 3-piece, so you can really love that band, but you can't like be like, okay, I'm gonna play like like Luke their bassist. I can't play like that because like then all of a sudden our music's super boring. So while like that's like the genre that really inspires me as like a bassist, I think like technique wise, I'll like usually try to play something more like funky, even though I'm playing with a pick, which is different, but something like faster, rhythmic, something more present in the mix, so that like we fill out that 3-piece sound.
Nice. I know personally, in terms of like psychedelic bassists, the first one that comes to mind for me is Kevin Parker of Tame Impala.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever take much from him or listen to him?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I've definitely stolen some of those bass sounds before with like flat wound strings and like chorusy stuff.
Yeah.
So why don't we talk then really quickly about what was that sort of first performance like as Mellow Honey, having your first time with it? Remind me of your drummer's name again.
Dylan.
Dylan, yes. What was that first performance with Dylan like? Was it kind of like I know you guys clicked very well, but was it sort of like you all sort of clicked together immediately and you had that energy and you riled up the crowd really well? Or
Yeah.
did it take a little bit of time to sort of get into the funk you wanted?
Ooh. Yeah.
I mean, I thought like the first shows went really well, other than like our like stage fright initially.
Yeah.
It was like I think we all like clicked pretty well. We had like the same goals in mind. We wanted to do it like independently. We wanted to like commit to one thing, and then like really like not I don't know. Like, am I allowed to cuss on the pod?
Sure, yeah. They'll either
Just-
bleed, depending on who edits. Some will bleed, some won't. But most of our audience
just
is
not to
conscious. You're
half-ass
fine.
it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Go in like 100%. Let's give it our all kind of thing. We're all on the same page, so I think with like the same motive, it kind of all worked out.
Yeah, Dylan clicked. He like fit right in right away, and he loved this. He especially liked the stuff that we were coming up with at the time. And our goal from the start was like pretty much write as much music as we can and play as many originals as we can, because we didn't want to turn into the Sweet Caroline kind of band that plays
Just covers.
Covers at bars, and we never wanted to sell. We just didn't want to sell out to the bar crowd. So while we did shoot ourselves in the foot for landing any kind of bar gigs, it keeps us happy and it keeps us creative.
Yeah.
Well, it goes back to what I was hearing you saying earlier about how it's very much this is very much a passion project for you guys.
Yes.
It's very much about doing what you want to do and what you love.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of which, now we get to the fun part, which I was looking forward to asking you about. Let's talk about your first album,
Yeah.
Sentimental by Design. I mean, this is just. I listened to it like a few days ago. Listened to it again just a little bit ago. It's very impressive.
Oh, thank you
Very
so much.
impressive.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to like tell me the story behind it, or do you want me to like ask just questions and you fill it in?
I mean, it's like a general story. I'd say is I think we started like some of the main ideas that are like kind of coincidental. Like it's not supposed to be a timeline, but like the first ideas that we ever wrote just happened to be at the beginning of the album, kind of thing. But that was in like 2019, so we had to take like a good long break for a year on our gap years to kind of from writing that. Then when we came back, it just kind of we started like change a lot of the ideas, because again, we originally thought it was going to be like a Spotify band, but then you start playing live and you're like, oh, people really like when you do that, or people really like this really works at shows and this doesn't work. And then so from there we started like kind of like writing more and changing the way that we would write the music and like approach it. And then I think just by the end of 2022, or like the summer.
Summer of 22, yeah.
We finally had played all the songs everywhere. We had a good 35, 40 minutes of music, and then we were like, that's just the time to, double down, get the Airbnb and record it.
Yes, I was going to ask. So tell me about the Airbnb.
Oh, yes.
Where was that again?
It was in Boswell. Boswell is like an hour and a half south of State College. Or maybe it was like, I can't remember. It must have been like 2 hours away. But yeah, basically we were thinking about where we were going to record because we didn't really have a good space. And I think I was talking to my friend Joseph, and he brought up the idea of like, oh, why not rent an Airbnb? And I thought about it. I'm like, why didn't we think of that? You know,
Yeah.
You don't have to rent a studio. You can just pay someone like, you know, a few $100 and stay somewhere for a few days with your sole goal being to record an album. So it kept us really focused. But yeah, we found this Airbnb and this nice old couple who lived on a farm with like alpacas. Let us use the space, and yeah, we just basically set up all the microphones on the first day. It was like 90 degrees in there. It was super hot, no AC.
No idea.
We pretty much survived on like cold brew and a bunch of snacks that we got from the grocery store. And from morning until the night, we'd be recording. We'd have like breaks scheduled, and it was yeah, we'd never done something like that, but it went very smoothly for all the things that could have gone wrong. Like we remembered all the equipment, you know, even today, like your microphone.
Yeah, exactly. I bring a whole microphone.
Yeah.
It's worked up until now, and then it doesn't. But yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, we had backup cables, we had backup everything. You know, there was never a moment of getting stuck. We just knew we had to keep going.
And you guys were there for how long?
4 days, and in that time we recorded the 10 songs, all the drums and bass at the same time, and we just did as many takes as we could get, and then we'd move on, and we got through all 10 songs. Yeah, it was stressful, but it was the most rewarding thing. We had a show immediately after that. Like we didn't even get to go home from the Airbnb, so we just drove straight to the brewery, and you know, by that point we had been playing with a metronome for 4 days straight, so we were tighter than ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say. So then, I know next to nothing about music production, but you say like, all the instruments were recorded together at the same time, or were they? Or,
Just the drums and bass, yeah.
Okay, the vocals you recorded on your own, and the guitar parts. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Were there any songs that were particularly tricky, or was?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think the nature of some of the stuff we do, because it's also like we do some stuff in odd time signatures, you know what I mean? And then we have some songs that, you know, some of our songs have like transitions in them,
Yes.
you know, from one to the other, and we wanted to make those like as seamless as possible. So there's definitely some like stuff that we really had to, you know, the question is always like, do we play with a metronome? Do we just, you know, kind of play it live, like naturally? So yeah, there was definitely some that were like particularly very tricky to write and record. Yeah.
For the songs that like flow into each other, did you have to just like play the two songs together like they were one, or did you did you just have to make like a really seamless cut between the two?
Yeah, it was mostly like seamless cuts. So like Castlegate, Glass Corridor, Unknown Side Effects, that kind of like, there's like that trilogy sort of. But I think we would just we would just stop right before the first note of the next song, you know, and then that kind of gave us some more room to get like the best takes we could, especially because there's like a tempo change between the first two songs. So that was a little tricky. It was like 100 BPM or something to 120. But yeah, that definitely threw in some challenges. I'd say the trickiest thing though was like was recording the songs that we hadn't finished writing. So,
Yeah.
we had a couple songs like Psychic 2 and Social Score Deduction. Like we didn't even have like some of the guitar parts or solos or vocals written. Space Waste, I came up with those guitar parts like a few weeks before we released the album. Like we had some areas where there was like the unknown, and that was definitely the trickiest part. Especially because like the songs that went really well were the ones that we had played live so many times that we had like no question on where to come in, you know.
No, I gotcha. And in terms of actually like writing the album and everything like that, what was that process sort of like? Because I know you were telling me about the initial, like the first parts of the album were sort of what you came up with beforehand in 2019. But in terms of everything else, was it just sort of like just practicing and just finding little ideas and stringing them together, or did you guys sort of approach it with like I don't want to say like a concept album, but like you had an idea for a song you wanted to write, and you sort of said like let's go for that, or let's try to capture this particular sound?
Yeah.
I mean, we have like the way we write is we just come up with a lot of riffs and like ideas for songs. We'll have like a lot of them, and then we'll narrow a lot down into just like one song, you know, so that we kind of keep it interesting at most points of the song, at least somewhat, I hope, you know. But then it was definitely like the concept album factor of it was definitely more in like the lyrics and like the overall like the sonic kind of like sounds that come out of it, you know, like the effects that we use more than like the riffs. So
yeah, but we record a lot of voice memos. Like we'll just be coming up with things individually and recording them, and then or we usually, like when we rehearse, we spend like 15-20 minutes just like playing. Like we don't say anything, we just start like goofing around, and sometimes something really good comes out of that, and eventually we just mix and match those ideas. And like we love the idea of like 2-part songs, so sometimes we'll have like, you know, we'll like just match the key or the tempo of one idea to another to kind of like make them flow together, and that's where like the flow of the songs also comes in for the album. So sometimes like we'll have to separate a song into two parts.
I was gonna say, is that like is that a debate kind of just, okay, do I want this to be one thing, like one whole experience, and then combine them into two, or is this going to work better as like its own separate experience?
Exactly. It's just like that.
I think it usually comes down to like what works better live, you know. Like the first 3 songs, we could have made that like 1 7-minute long song if we wanted to, but it's like no one's going to want to hear that whole thing for 7 minutes live every time we play. So it's like about, you know. But this way we break them down into ways that like we can mix and match them live, and we'll come up with like new transitions, or new shows and stuff like that.
Well, I was also going to say, I can't really speak as a creator, but as someone who listens to music on Spotify, I know some people, I don't know if you guys think about it like this, but for some people it can be a little bit of a turnoff here and there if they see like a really long song. Because like there's some really good like rock and hip hop songs that I love, but like I'll only listen to the first half or the second half of them because it'll be like, it's like I like this part, but the whole like 6 minutes or 7 minutes. I don't know if you guys ever think about it like that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I used to be reading the prog rock, like progressive rock. They got like 20-minute long songs. They got all this, and you know it's like cool. It's like super artistic, and it's very showy. I guess it's like it's like a full composition. You have to like experience the whole thing. But you know then recently we've been listening to more like 3-4 minute songs, but like the album, but with like an album that flows really well.
Yeah,
I like that format a lot. So yeah, we kind of split our songs on the premise that like an idea is interesting, but like I guess only for a certain amount of time before it kind of gets a little dull.
No, yeah, totally. I get that. And then I was going to ask, in terms of like lyrics, how does that kind of work for you guys? Is it all just sort of, do you guys sort of come up with lyrics together, or is it just what you think sounds best as a singer, or like, how does the lyrical process go? Because I know for some bands it's very much, it can very much be like something like I hate this is my first example, but like the Smiths, like they would record all their instrumentals first, and then Morrissey would come in like separately later on and just do all his vocal bits, and he'd come up with his own lyrics and stuff. But for other bands, it's like very much a whole creative process, and everybody takes part in it. Or I don't know, I'm rambling.
Yeah, no, I got you.
So I mean, Marty definitely wrote most of the the lyrics and the ideas for like Sentimental by Design, but there have been moments where it's like kind of like an afterthought, like we'll write a song and then we won't really have lyrics for it yet, but we want to play it at the show that we have to like test it out. And then like in those scenarios, we've just been like we've had times where we just like throw out cool words and phrases. Like, you could just say that 3 times, and it could work sometimes.
I've definitely borrowed just like the Mr. Brightside lyrics for like songs that we haven't finished that we wanted to test out. But yeah, I'll usually like write the lyrics after we've like written the song, and it's just kind of a thing. It's like it's usually based on like whatever. If there's something I've been like thinking about all week, that's usually what I'll like write the lyrics about. I know some people write lyrics even before they write the music. It's kind of like they treat it like poetry, or kind of the other way around. We like the way the things sound, and then after that, it's just arranging a bunch of words in the dope order.
No, yeah, it's an interesting process. I like asking people about it because it's always different for whoever. And would you say anything in particular inspired like some themes behind your lyrics on the album, or
Yeah, it's definitely like kind of hate the government sort of album. Like the concept of it is along the lines of like avoiding some of the consequences of like the way technology has progressed, and being a slave to the system, and being a slave to like all these devices that we're surrounded by. And we also incorporated some themes about taking illicit psychedelic substances to kind of escape from all that. And that was really like the motivation behind most of the lyrics of the album. And that's why we kind of like it sounds a little cheesy to call it a concept album, but that's just kind of our concept. But yeah, there are definitely like some artists where I just like hear them say like a few phrases and I'm like, oh, I like the idea of that too. And then we'll like write lyrics based on there's
a lot of Mark Zuckerberg on there, man. If
Yeah.
you're listening, that's for you.
Yeah. So then let's move on really quickly to something I also really like talking about, but the album cover. How did you guys? Did one of your bandmates? Sorry, did either of you or Brian? Right. Dylan. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna sound like a horrible interviewer.
Cool.
No.
Did either of you or Dylan come up with the album cover, or was that a friend? Or how did you guys get it? Because it's really cool. It really fits the music, I feel.
We wish it was one of us.
Yeah.
It was an artist that we found. He's from New Zealand. I think his name is
Azazelus,
Mr. Lazarus,
Yeah.
some stuff. But he's no, we definitely. I would have loved to like if one of us could have made it and like had the whole production in house. But I think with like especially our genre and to us like the album cover is like a sacred idea. With like all the King Gizzard albums, like it just sets the vibe for the whole album before you even hear it. And then it's like if you ever get the honor of like putting it on a poster or shirts or like vinyl. Like that's everything, and to me, it's like listening to all those albums. Like I was obsessed over the album cover, so I needed it to just be, it had to be. We knew it had to be something really nice by like a real professional, so we had to outsource for that, unfortunately. But no regrets. It looks sick. Yeah.
No, it really does.
Yeah.
And did you? So like when you guys were telling this Mr. Lazarus about how to make the album, did you kind of give like instructions of like this is what we're going for, this is what I want to see on the album cover, these like the imagery, or did you just give him the music and say go for it?
Yeah, it was kind of both. I mean, we wanted to give him as much expression as we could give him because we'd seen his work before. We knew that he would make something good, and we would love it regardless. But we did throw in some like the concepts I mentioned earlier for our album. We fed him some of those ideas, and then I just sent him like a couple of songs. He listened to them, and really kind of just took it in his own direction. But if you look through the album cover, you'll see like a few of those ideas. Like I told him about like using psychedelics, and he threw in that cool that head with like the mushroom brain, and we've used that for so many. We love that. We were so happy that he did that.
Yeah, that's your logo on Instagram, right?
Yeah, it's our logo for Instagram. It's like kind of our profile picture, and then there's like the robot destroying the city. It's kind of like it's like the elite.
Yeah, we gave him like a lot of lyrics. We sent him the songs, like all the unfinished versions of it, but he was like really excited to incorporate those ideas. There's like references to like a lyric in Glass Corridor with like the tower and the eye looking down at the people. The whole skull thing is supposed to represent the elites, and then there's like smoke, like pollution coming out of it as they destroy the city and whatnot. So yeah, he was excited about the project. Like that guy was excited about it, and I think it just turned out real nice.
No, yeah, this will if you guys ever happen to put this on vinyl, it's gonna look really good in big print.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we even ordered a back cover just in case. So yeah, hopefully CDs sometime. We have been lacking in our CD production. We forgot to I guess we just never really had the time.
Yeah, that's a big project, you know. But we have like one fan in the UK. I don't know. I don't know how he found the album, but
I think he found us through Reddit.
He found us through Reddit. Not that we use Reddit or anything, but yeah, he found us through Reddit or something, and then he just like it just resonated with him or something because he started DMing us like, "Yo, can't believe I found this. I love you guys." And he's like the one guy, one international fan. And then he actually like DM'd us lately, and he was like, "I think I'm gonna bootleg the project, you know, put it on vinyl for you guys." So
yeah,
hopefully, if he ever pulls through with that, we'll get a few copies.
Yeah, he said he'd send us a couple copies over.
Yeah, no,
that'd be really cool. Yeah,
bootleg vinyls are so interesting.
Yeah.
There's this. Have you guys ever been to the King of Prussia Mall?
No, but we've driven right past it to get to the Chipotle on our way back home.
Yeah, no. So it's a little bit outside Philly. I think it's like 40 minutes away from the city. But they got this. If you're ever back around that area, I'd recommend checking out this really cool vinyl store. They're called The Rock Shop, and they have like a bunch of like new vinyls of like really popular artists now, and they have like a bunch of like older vinyls from older artists and stuff like that, like used vinyls. But more importantly, they have like a bunch of a hip hop section, and the hip hop section just has like tons of bootleg vinyls from like tons of like underground artists or like mainstream artists who like don't release their stuff as like a mainstream wide released vinyl. Yeah. They'll have like mixtapes as vinyls. It's really interesting. It's really interesting to see.
Crazy.
We should see where they get their bootlegs from. I'd be interested in leaking our masters. No,
it's cool. It's cool. So that's I'm rambling cool. Again, but no, it's a really interesting place if you want to check that out. But yeah, so I guess we can talk a little bit about the future now. Actually, wait, no. Before we do that, let's talk really quick about Battle of the Bands. How was that? You guys did. You guys played against. I think it was 6 other bands for spot.
Yeah, all good friends of ours too. So it was a real fun time. But yeah, I know we were super happy to win Battle. It was like magical moment, dreams come true and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. Last year we played. And we lost
National Hockey League.
Yeah, Women's National Hockey League won. No surprise, honestly, when we saw them play. We were like, oh shit. but yeah, no, like that was a few months after we started playing, and so we've been playing for over a year and a half, and we kind of went in there, and we It's a good experience all around because you get really good photos, you get great videos, and it's like some of the best audio quality, and you play with other good bands. It's like you get to hear the best version of every band because everyone picks their best 15 minutes. But we did go in with the mindset of like, we really want to win this year.
We're bringing
that is our goal. But
I was talking to Forrester Gray last week, and they were talking. I was asking them about how does it feel to be like on a stage with like Penn State levels of production and they're like it's not just one guy doing all the audio work. It's like everything's like like what was that kind of like in terms of just playing like a show of that sort of scale or with that kind of equipment and sound quality.
It's so cool. Like I can't even get it just makes you excited to like with the lights going off and everything. It gets you hyped while you're up there. It's like wow.
Yeah, and they got perfect monitor mixes, so you hear everything crystal clear. Honestly, it's just it's like the first time we had to submit a tech writer and tell them what our equipment was. But that just kind of goes to show what kind of level of production there is, and so hopefully we get some of that moving on.
I was gonna say yes. How does it feel? You guys are gonna be playing Moving On. Have you guys attended it before?
Yeah, I went last year, and it was, like, crazy. There was an insane amount of people. I know people were super riled up to see Jack Harlow, but it was just, like, dang. I couldn't believe that there was, like, that many people all in the same age range was kind of freaking me out. Because if you've ever been, like, a music festival, it's, like, a range. You got, like, younger people there, you got older people there, and you can kind of, like, find, like, a safe spot in the back, But the older guys were hanging out. Moving On was wild. It was like everybody there was like a college kid, and like there was like no safe spot until you guys like the porta potties and stuff. But I also did come pretty late, so I'm I mean, I'm hoping that the vibes earlier are no more chill sunlight, kind of like people breathing kind of thing. But yeah.
No, I showed up last year. I was covering the Amine concert, and then I stayed for Jack Harlow. So I was catching everybody while they were still all riled up and everything.
Yeah.
Y'all are opening, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it might be a little more chill in your case because it's not quite as
it'll be like 4:00 or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, still pretty excited to have like a big audience.
It's still gonna be huge.
We just want to make it as energetic as possible.
Yeah.
We just really want that stage presence to kind of captivate the heart and souls of some of these young people. Like I think the only time I went to Moving On, I went last year for just like a little bit, but it was kind of hectic. But I think the first time I went was like freshman year, and I think they had the hub lawn. It was a little smaller back then, but it seems like the budget's growing. They're moving to the IM fields.
Mm-hmm.
Big.
I was going to ask. Is the set list set yet?
Ooh,
I don't think we've set anything yet, but I think we have something special up our sleeve. We just want to make it as like entertaining, as captivating, as like memorable, so that people kind of be like, "Whoa, who are those guys?" It's obviously, we're kind of like we got the most to prove out of all the performers of the festival. But we're super honored. It's like crazy that you can just be a student at Penn State and then like compete for the chance to do that. Like that's just ridiculous, and it didn't cost anything. We didn't have to pay like an application fee. We didn't have to pay.
Yeah.
Just you get
all it
if you're a
costs
student
is
here.
sleepless nights.
No, okay, so is it going to be, you don't have to spoil anything for me, but I was just going to ask, is it going to be all originals or some covers, or is it going to be some new stuff?
It's all originals. I don't think we're allowed to, I guess we could play a cover. I think WNHL did last year, but, in the battle guidelines, it is intended to be like all originals. So, we're not going to waste our time with the covers.
Definitely do all originals, but we do have new music that's not out yet. We've been playing live, and we will most definitely play it live and moving on. So
I think the goal is just nonstop music. Keep playing.
Nice. Are you guys? Oh shoot! I was gonna ask if you guys are planning on selling any CDs or anything there, but like you still got that going. Are you gonna like try and get Are you guys allowed to sell like patches or pins or anything?
We should have asked. We should
I don't know. And if we can't sell it, we might just throw some from the stage, if you're. But I think I haven't looked into that, but it'd be cool if we could. I think this sad is that these days it's more valuable to just like shout out your Instagram handle probably than to sell CDs. You'll probably get more listeners through that, but it'd be cool if we had them.
And patches and pins and stickers are always fun. For some bands, those are like business cards almost.
Pretty much.
Or like I always figured if I was going to start a band, I'd find a way to like put my like Spotify codes as like a sticker or something in its own way. But like I don't know, that's what I'm thinking. But okay, so then moving on then, what else is in the future for you guys? So you said you have new music coming out. Like you're thinking like a single release, EP, new album, anything like that?
I don't know.
I don't know. I think we're shooting for EP if we can. So we definitely want to put something out. Maybe not as an intense, long, cohesive project as Sentimental by Design, something that we can have like a little bit more fun with. But it's definitely like super exciting for us to play the new music live because it's something we're excited about. We haven't had the chance of putting on platforms yet, which is always fun to like go back to that experience of like, you haven't heard this yet, let's test it out, tweak it a little bit, try it different ways.
We're working on some, just I guess another little EP maybe.
No, you don't have to put a label on anything yet. I was just curious new music in general.
Cool. There will be new music.
Expect it.
Okay, and so then we're coming in kind of close to like my last sort of questions at the moment, but I guess before I ask y'all for your shout outs and Instagram handles and all that, is there just anything in general you want to add about, I don't know, either the band or the music you make or performing or moving on or anything at all? Any final thoughts?
I don't know.
Yeah, not much from me. I guess
It's totally cool. Now we can move on to So then we can move on to shout outs. Then who do you wanna say thanks to? Any producers or instrumentalists or just people in general. Who helped get you here.
First and foremost, shout out Dylan. He can't be here today.
I know.
Our amazing drummer Dylan. Yeah, shout out to him. Other than that, I don't really know. I mean, we're on Instagram at Mellow Honey Band.
Yeah.
I think,
shout out to all the local bands we play with. Violet Grooves, Forrester Gray.
Yeah, Forrester Gray has an EP out now.
Yes.
Violet Grooves has 2 singles out, and whatnot. So shout out to everybody in the State College music scene that we play with and stuff. I think if we owe it to anybody, it's all those people. At the end of the day, the people who came to battle the bands and stuff and listen to our album are all those people.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out.
Well, nice. Okay, cool. And then, so I guess for social media, right? You already shared it. It was at Mellow Honey Band.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And y'all are on. Are you guys just on Spotify? Or are you on YouTube, Apple Music? Or
All
like
the
that?
streaming services.
Everyone.
Tidal.
Yeah.
Napster.
Tidal, Napster.
Nice.
Yep.
I don't think we're on
Even-
SoundCloud.
Even
but-
iHeartRadio, even
Yeah.
Pandora, all the ones that you forgot about that your grandma still uses for Christmas.
iTunes,
radio.
but not
Facebook
Apple
Music.
Music, the part of iTunes where you can still buy it for
Oh,
$1.99.
yeah.
I think we're on there
Amazon,
too. So.
YouTube Music,
Yeah. Bandcamp.
Bandcamp.
You got the hustle down.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, in that case, Mellow Honey, thank you so much for coming on. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it. You guys want to say adios to the audience?
Yeah.
Adios.
Peace out. Adios.
Once again, this is Ayden with Herold with Do You Make Music for the Daily Collegian. You can find my Instagram at Ayden's Portfolio. That's AYDENS Portfolio. If you know any local state college bands or artists who you think might want to apply for this show, they can find my form right on my Instagram bio. Thank you so much again, and have a wonderful day wherever you are. Ciao.